Hey guys, yesterday I did a spoiler-free review on The Gentleman, but I actually really wanted to, not really break down this one, but I wanted to actually discuss the spoilers. And before I start this video, you really should watch the film. I know there's people who don't care about spoilers, but you should really watch the film because even if you're not into crime films, this actually might get you into crime films. Same way that Snatch got me into crime films. This might do the same for you because it's not a slow, it moves at a very fast pace. Anyway, I'm gonna start. I've got a lot of notes right here because I'm planning on splitting this into a few different parts because there's a lot to cover in this film. Alright, so we're gonna start off. So the opening scene is Mickey Pearson, Matthew McConaughey's character, walking into a bar, ordering a pint and a pickled egg, and then calls his wife and he's like, "Oh, it's steak night" and all that. And then he's like, "Who's there?" Roz, "Who's there?" And then some guy walks in, points a gun at him. Then it cuts to his pint and his egg, and then blood splats all over it. Then we have like a kind of sort of James Bond opening sequence where it plays a song. The song's called Cumberland Gap. It's actually a really good song. I'd recommend hearing it, and I'd recommend watching this movie. Um, uh, yeah, blood splats over the pint. We get an opening sequence, and rewatching the film, it has like these little visual indicators. So when it shows Fletcher taking pictures with his camera, because obviously he's a private investigator, there's like money, well, pound note signs coming out of it. That actually suits his character pretty well, and yeah, and you can just tell it's his character. And with Dry Eye, there's a dragon going around him. With Mickey, there's like a bush sign. So yeah, great opening scene that instantly gets you hooked. Next, we move on to Ray and Fletcher. So the main thing is this guy Fletcher is a private investigator. Goes to Raymond's house, who is played by Charlie Hunnam. Raymond is the right hand man to Mickey Pearson. So then, and Ray Fletcher has some information on them of sorts, and he's even written a script. And then he wants to basically he's being paid by Big Dave, who is the head of I can't remember his exact position, but he's a boss. He's like Fletcher's boss, and he was at this event, and he wrote an art. He's an editor. That's what he is. Big Dave's an editor. He's played by Eddie Marson. Um, uh, he wrote an article calling someone who was close to Mickey gay, and he lost his wife and all that. So at this event, when Mickey saw him, he refused to shake his hand. So Big Dave wants to get dirt on him basically. Then we know how Mickey came up from Fletcher, and turns out he was very poor. He was born poor but smart, is what he says. Then we get to the scene where it's like he starts hold on, just get that rid of it. Just some notification came up. Basically, so what I was saying was he starts selling weed. Then he learns he's good at it, and one of the opening scenes he goes to Ray Fletcher's like, oh, he needed to tell them that I can't remember what exactly he said. Basically, to say he can also be a hard man. It just shows him with a machete, and it cuts to the scene afterwards. The guy's just covered in blood, and the machete is right towards him. And it's pretty graphic. And then he walks out, and then we learn about let's see what's next. We got how Mickey came up. Then we meet Matthew Berger, and we learn after we meet Matthew Berger, he's like one of his partners, and then we learn about because there's so much stuff in the UK because weed isn't legal, and there's so much stuff like drones. I think it's like locals. That's like some cunt who's busy enough that just an arrow said some cunt at this woman, and then so you gotta think about all that. Then what happens is so he killed a landlord. Well, he's got 12 locations all around the UK, I think. He's got some European connections, and he killed a landlord, and the other person. And when you kill the landlords, their family loses half of the fortune. So what he does is he pays them the other half of the fortune that they've lost, and and as long as the money keeps rolling in every year, they don't care about what he's doing. So that's and the weed is under I can't remember what you call the container. Basically you step in and you go downstairs, and then he's got all these weed farms. So yeah, discuss what how Mickey does it, and then we get introduced to our antagonist. This is one of my favorite parts of the movie. We get introduced to the main bad guy, Dry Eye, played by Henry Golden, who again, he is fantastic. And then when Hugh Grant is like, can't remember how he describes his character, but he's just like, so now we get to a slightly anticlimactic character. Think of him as a Chinese James Bond, Reichen. He just puts on a Chinese accent. And then I'm pretty sure he's smuggling immigrants. I think that's what he was doing. And then after that, we get introduced to Rosalind, Mickey's wife. And then so she has a car factory. One of the things that I forgot to mention was the good thing about this movie. It very quickly establishes, like, rewatching it last night and seeing how much it establishes in like the span of 15-20 minutes. Most films that most directors, if they were making this film, they would take them like an hour to get going. So yeah, to get introduced to Rosalind, and Dry Eye asks her for a meeting. So yeah, then we see a head. It cuts back to Fletcher and Ray, and Ray goes to get a steak because he's just like he has the barbecue. Then he's just like, oh, I love a barbie, I'll have a steak, and then he's just like, it'll be wasted on you. And then and touches the bark, and he's like, oh fuck me. Then he's just like, it's hot. It's just these little lines. One of my favorite. Then he opens up the freezer, and there's a head in the freezer. So that's not very good. And now we get to one of my favorite scenes in the movie, the bar meeting. So, because Dry Eye went to Rosalind to get Mickey to meet him in a bar. So they meet in this bar, and then basically Mickey's like, oh, don't you dare use my wife again to get to me, or something like that. Then Dry Eye's like, oh, I meant no offense. And he's like, I'm here to make you an offer. And starts typing on the phone, like, do not know how many numbers he typed, but it was definitely more than 9 or 10. He types in a lot of numbers. Then he shows him the thing, and he's like, this is a big effing number. Then he starts saying how he's out of touch because Mickey's trying to get out. He's wanting to retire, that's the plot. So he offers him money, and then what he does is when he offers him the money, he's like, you're out of touch. It's like my silverback's got more silver than back and all that. You're forgetting the laws of the jungle. Then he shows him the phone. And he's just like, this is a big fucking number. And then Mickey is just like, yeah, this is a big fucking gun. And he's got a gun on the table. He shoots him right in the balls. Then he shoots the other guy in the head. Then he's over him. Then he's just like, my eyes not so dry now. Then he's just like, oh, is that about being beneath me? And then he's just like, at one point he calls him a deluded ducky. Yeah, pretty racist stuff. So yeah, then it turns out Fletcher was just trying to add some action into his film. So then he didn't actually shoot him, but he did intimidate him, and then he left. So then we go actually, so on the bar meeting, I think I'll leave. Yeah. I'll leave that for this video. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time, The Average Moviegoer, and watch this film